So we'll start. We'll make a shorter share today, so people can go to Slichas. Try to make it as short as possible. Uh, who's anybody's birthday? Well, next week is Baruch Hashanah's birthday. Whoever has a birthday dedicated to somebody's birthday or a special day. Okay. Oh, we didn't dedicate the share to Yisrael's birthday. That was last week. All right, shame. It was the Chofetz Chaim's yahrzeit. That was the bris of our son Yisrael. Okay, so we're dedicating to Yisrael and his family. A good geben shol, Shona Tova, Sukkah for everybody. Okay. The Torah says after the Torah, so we're starting. I'll start with a little. Somebody sent me a post, a WhatsApp post. I didn't have a chance to send it out. It the it's like a cartoon. The police stopped a guy, and he says, "Please, officer, a Yiddish officer in Israel." She says, "Please, I'm rushing to Ashrei Slichas." So the officer says, "Well, ich halshim ba karbonis." I'm trying to catch Ashrei. He says, "I'm catching karbonis right now." So and he gave him a hefty train. So let we're trying to catch up to Rosh Hashanah. So here's the thing. Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem. Hayom, always hayom means today is hayom arasoilam. Hayom koilis shmo. Hayom is, we said in a few shirim ago, hayom is the first day and the last day. In other words, the day. Hmm? Is the day of judgment, but at the end, but it's also the day of rebirth. Rosh Hashanah has two aspects. It has Yom Adin, the fact that it judge, but why you judge? Because it's the birthday of all humanity. So, by the way, today's Chaf Hey Elul, which is the day of the Bria. All the neshamas were created today. Everything, the whole world was created today. It was manifested sort of in the first 6 days, but the neshama of everything was created today. So it's a very special day today, very auspicious day today. Divide it's the Yisaidable Yisaid. Okay, but let's go right. So Hayoim is always the beginning, and hence the birthday, but it's also the judgment, how the year went by. So how do you, when you ask somebody, how was your Rosh Hashanah? Well, my answer is got to be, well, we don't know till the end of next year. In other words, till next Rosh Hashanah, we will know how this Rosh Hashanah went. Somebody from Miami, a friend from Miami, sent me a very short clip from Melech Biederman yesterday. I think it was audio. I think it was audio. That's what it was like a minute or something. But I remember the he quoted the Chazanish. Chazanish said his Shtadlus is Rosh Hashanah. That's the day Shtadlus for Parnasa. So it reminded me that I think the Beisaren from Melinov, I think the from Alter Rebbe from Kalin, I think he said it. Maybe one of the different Rebbes of the Kalin said, Rosh Hashanah is a bil karuf, a bil karop. That means one bulka, one challah, more, one challah less. Abisl me panos beinik panos. It's Rosh Hashanah. It's these 2 days that you have to daven for the. You should be able to not only for yourself, for everybody. So Hayoim is the beginning, and Hayoim is also judgment. So hence, a birthday is judgment. A person has 2 days of judgment in their lives. One, the day is their personal birthday. That's Hayoim Harasoilim for their personal mission. But then there's Hayoim Harasoilim of the collective mission. And that's what I want to talk about today, more the collective mission, the collective his chayvus of a person, the judgment of the collective. That's what we try to aim at, the collective. Yourself, but if you get into the crowd, the package deal, corporate account, you get many more benefits. So let's go. So 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 let's retrieve a drop. Last week we have the klolos, 98 klolos, twice as much as 49 as the B'chukoisnim Vayikra, right? The last portion of Vayikra is the klolos of B'chukoisei. Then, so what's the first klolos? Is the first Churban Beis Hamikdash, second Churban Beis Hamikdash. Some say the Holocaust is included in the second klolos of last week, and if people are frightened to death, I mean, these klolos are horrifying, horrifying. So Moshe says, "Aten Nitzavim hayom kulchem." No, you're standing. Look, you're. So Moshe is trying to tell them that the klolos were for a reason. What was the reason of the klolos? We'll get to that message. And then we have Atem Nitzavim hayom kulchem. Atem And so Chazal teach Atem is emes. So why? So say emes. Why are you saying Atem? You number one, you want to get all of you together, kulchem together. It's a package deal. It's a corporate. Let's try to work this out. So if Nitzavim is before Rosh Hashanah, well, Nitzavim Vayelech Hazin is usually in the days of Yom Nerom. So around and about, you have either before Yom Kippur or Hazina after Yom Kippur. But in any case, you get these parshas over here. So we want to know about that, and we want to know. Um, it says. Uh, Again, one of the Karliner Rebbe's said, you cannot do tshuva if you're a liar, because the whole tshuva is a lie. So a shakran can never do tshuva. A liar can never do tshuva. So let's try to get everything and get it all in with this mix up and make some sense out of it. And in English, they say to unpack it. Okay, so let's go. So first of all, let's start with we have an expression tichle shona v'kiliser, hochil shona ubircheser. Tichle is with a chaf, that means to end, right? Uh, to cease from, or like the word decease, right? And then there's vayichal Hashem, vayichulu Hashemayim v'aretz. Hashem completed. That means, and he stopped from creating the world after 6 days. So you have tochil with a ches, which is to start the next year. Now, what's pshat titz leshon v'kil l'isel? So I'm going to introduce this with a little story, and then we'll get into it. I have a friend, Ramaya Bernek, a genius Shabbat genius, a talented Shabbat talented. What a sharp head and a grace of Machadish and a Torah and everything else. Besides all his askanas and everything else, he's always the one that's saving everybody's life. And okay, but he sent me a clip just today, and I think it's a good segue to get in. It's a clip of a Einikel v'Chadush Shirim, which he was modern Orthodox, and they moved to Israel, his parents obviously, and the kids before his bar mitzvah. Now he says he's 25. This is a clip of this week. He says he's 25. He gave this 20-minute speech, but I'm just going to do it in 1 minute, the points. And this young man, when he was 12 plus, his father took him to the Gera dynasty, to the Gera Rebbe, took him to the Troll Altar, and they gave him a brach and a siddur till him, whatever the minig over there is. Now, he comes in, and Reb Shol Alter was exceptionally nice to him. Now, he's einikel for Reb Chidush Shirim, but they're clearly far away from the ganze Chassidus and everything else. So he was so taken by this warmth, this mamish ayin ba'ayin. He, eye to eye, not. I'm the big tzaddik and the Talmud Chochem, the Goyen, and you barely know how to from which side to read Aleph Beis. I mean, he really gave him the whole warmth that the Jewish nation is. That's what Judaism is all about, and it went into the bones that years later, when he was in Lebanon, in the army of Israel, and then in Gaza, right, in Gaza, and he was so lonely, and he decided to write a letter to the Gera Rebbe because Reb Shol Alter, the Rosh Shiva, because he felt that there's only one person that showed him such heart, such warmth, and he wrote to him and a few letters back and forth, and I would like to share that. And he says it came before Rosh Hashanah, no shofar, no machzor, nothing, sitting there in the camouflaged, and they're supposed to be. They got a word that they're going to be ambushed, whatever the word. The kids, there's nothing. He tried to make a little minion. He was machazik, but garnishment. So he wrote a letter to Reb Shol Alter, and Reb Shol tells him. So the letter goes that he's so broken, he feels all alone, he feels mamish like rejected. No Rosh Hashanah, where did he get inspiration? He feels mamish the ganzen zerbrochen. So Reb Shol Alter tells him, answers him back. So you got this amazing opportunity right now. Hashem is giving you such a present of a zerbrochen hearts. That's the essence of Rosh Hashanah. I don't know if he exactly said that, but he said, who can come closer to Hashem? Who can do tshuva? He was complaining, I don't have a cup to make a cheshbon nefesh. He says, no, Adarabba. The tzibrochen haaretz is the best, is the easiest and the most conducive way to get a cheshbon nefesh. When somebody feels down, that's the way to connect. And you get this present of being broken, a broken heart. That's the closest to connection. It's one step away. Now you know you're missing them. It reminds me the Baditchever Tzaddik, right? The Rebbe, the Baditchever Rebbe. He said, Rebbeinu Shloim, it takes two to tangle. So first, I have to know that I'm missing something, so I can yearn, desire, and reach that, right? And if I don't know I'm missing, how can I achieve something I don't know I'm missing? So he says, Rebbeinu Shloim, it takes two to tangle. We need something, and you have what it takes to give, and you want to give. Avinu Malkeinu, you want to give your other father Malkeinu, and then all that together. He says, so half is done. We're convinced that we need. Now, Rebbeinu Shloim, it's all on you. The ball is in your court. Now just give it to us. It's all you want to. So here I am. I'm ready to accept. So that was the first thing. He says it comes Hanukkah, no menorah. He wants to light a menorah. He wants to sing a little bit. He didn't have too many frumma people around him. So what does he do? Another letter of Tzibrochenkite. So he says, light up the menorah in your heart and your soul, and glow. Now you have the opportunity to build Vovi Mishkan Evna. You can build a base of Migdosh, a holy temple in your heart, in your soul. Connect to your soul and light up your soul and become that candle that's going to light up your whole brigade around you, all your comrades. And that's what he did. And he lighted up everybody around him. And then he came with Pesach and Shavuos. And Shavuos, he's sitting there in Gaza, and it was like a wilderness, like a midbar shmama, like void of anything. And he's sitting there, and there's nothing to him. And he feels, what kind of Torah? Where's inspiration? Another letter, and he tells me this. That's in the midbar. The Torah was given in the midbar, so you have what it takes. Just again, light up and accept the Torah in your heart, in your soul, and spread it out to the people, the less fortunate around you. Don't feel that feeling of yearning. Don't feel that feeling of missing. And it went on. It went on to Tichle Shon. He came back. I can't remember exactly all the details, but the point is that, and Tichle Shon of Tichle, he said, he wrote him a letter, or he said, I can't remember. He said, Tichle Mloshen Keli, take along the problems. Don't reject the problems. Don't deny the problems. Don't deny the way I understand what Reb Sol Alta told him is, don't deny the tzibrochen heart. I think, and I want to conclude the story with that. It started off with a tzibrochen hearts is the key, is the get go. That's the jump start. That's what gets you in the mood. That's what gets you tuned in. That's what gets you aligned. And then we're going to get to this to the camaraderie in a second. But the point is that tzibrochen hearts, and I want to end off with tzibrochas. Don't deny, don't reject, don't have charota, don't regret the tzibrochen hearts. There's nothing. I think they say it from the Kotzker. There's nothing as shleimus, as wholesome as a broken heart. Okay, so now, what does that have to do with Rosh Hashanah? Well, first of all, Moshe Rabbeinu tells him, "Hatam Nitzavim Hayom," you're standing today, steadfast. You're still around. Yes, all the tzoros and all your broken heart and all the reasons to cry and all the reasons to pity yourself, but you're still around. You see that Hashem saw you through it. He sustained you through it. He kept you going, and now you have the experience. That gets me to Ashrei Ha'om Yoidei Sirua. What does that mean, Ashrei Ha'om Yoidei Sirua? Ashrei is fortunate is the nation. Yoide, they know Teruah. What means Teruah? Teruah is at Tzibrochen hearts. That's what Teruah is. So you have the Gemara says, by the end of time, Hashem says, B'nechachatu, right? So he goes to Avram, B'nechachatu, your children sinned, and they really, it's repugnant. I mean, they really messed up so badly. They spit in my face. So Yemocha al Shimcha. Avram says, let them be obliterated al Shimcha. Now the Chassidish pshat, Yemocha the Aveda shall be obliterate al shimcha for the sake of your name, and I believe in that pshat too. But pasha pshat is machal shimcha. In other words, Avram says, "Look, it is what it is. They messed up. I'm sorry. That's it. I'm not going to defend." Ultimately, I gave up Yitzchak on the Akedah. Ultimately, Hashem, I love you more than my kids. I love you more than most precious children. My um, uh, prized possession more than anything else. So if it's you or them, you stay, they go. Right. See, there's an innate thing over here about a father. What's touch a father? If you want to know the essence of a father, okay, first let me go to Yaakov, then I'll tell you the essence. And he goes to Yaakov, Yemochal Shimcha, same thing. Your children transgressed, they broke the covenant, Yemochal Shimcha. In other words, Chaz v'sholom Shimcha, your name shouldn't be desecrated. Your name shouldn't be broken. Let them be broken, a broken heart, not your name. That's the way I understand. Because otherwise it's cruel. Why would Avram say? In other words, let them break them, so their broken heart will be broken. Al shimcha, for the sake of coming back to Yishmael. But it comes the Yitzchak. So what does Yitzchak say? B'necha chatu, big deal. Rebbeinu Shalom. Avram sent away Yishmael. Yaakov didn't have anybody, but I kept Yishmael close by, near and dear. Why? So there's all pshota because it's side befiv. You don't even have to come onto that. Poshut kipshutoi. I he was your child and he was my child. There's shloisha shut from bottom. You give the neshama, I give there's the basar and the bones. Between me, my wife, and you, we're partners. And he says, Rebbeinu Shalom, I did not reject him. I took care of him. I was makar of him. I kept him. Sometimes you can't keep it home, but you can keep a shaykhis with him. I kept him close, near and dear. When you're complaining, what was I supposed to say? If I have it in me to keep Esav within my daladamas, you don't have it in you? What means a father? You know what a father is? One of the explanations of a father is somebody, the only person in the world that wants you to be better than him. A father is somebody that wants his kids to be better than him. That's a father. She says, Rebbeinu Shalom, if it's a question, you win or Esav wins, I let Esav win because he's my son. It can't be that I have it in me and you don't have it in you. I have what it takes to be Merachim and you don't have it. You say B'necha Chotu, I had also B'necha Chotu, and I kept him. I didn't discriminate. I didn't ostracize. I didn't reject. What means Atem? Atem is emes. So write emes? What should I say? Atem. So I have a Kabbalistic way approach, the way I understand. I said it before many times. Atem is emes is Aleph Mem Sof, the first letter, the middle letter, the last letter. But the ultimate harmony, the ultimate shleimus, the ultimate wholesomeness doesn't come. It's not somewhere in the middle. No, the golden middle that the Ram talks about. It's Aleph is Chesed, all the way Chesed. Then it goes all the way to Taf, to Gevura, again extreme, Din, and then you find in the middle you get the Feres. That's the Mem. That's the Mem, right? There's Tam and there's Mace. What's Tam? Tam is the last letter. Tam means I look at the end. How does it end? How does it end off? What's the ultimate result? What do you want from me, Rabbi Shalom? What's my core mission? What's my core goal? What are my value system that I have to reach? I have to achieve those values. It has to become part and parcel. So you start with the Tam. Tam means you look at the last letter, right? And then the Mem is in the middle. You get afterwards, you come back to the middle. You make the balance. The Mem is the present. Tam is the future. What's Mace? Mace is if you live only for the present and the future is only secondary, I'll worry later. That's a person that's Mace. So let's go to Aleph Tov. You have the Aleph at the beginning, the Tov is there, and the Mem, Tem. But there's another pshat over here. What means Atem? Nitzavim, you stand. There's one thing that's more painful than anything else in the world. It's the worst punishment in the world. To ostracize somebody, to put somebody in stadium, somebody should feel lonely. There's no, even when a person dies, that's what he's afraid of. What do you sit shiva? You come to sit shiva because part of the neshama and part of the ruach and part of the nefesh is there, right? Nefesh goes away after 7 days fully. The ruach goes away after 30 days, hence the shloishim, and the neshama goes away after the first yahrzeit. In other words, a year later, including the yahrzeit. The 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 part of the neshama is so lonely. So the first 7 days you sit with the family and friends come together. It's the lonely is the most being lonely and being secluded is the worst. In fact, in jail, if somebody makes trouble in jail, what do they do? They seclude him even more. He has no visitation, of course, and he can't even mesh with his buddies, with his neighbors. They put him separately. So it's so lonely. So what's atem? Atem is the Rosh Hashanah. Al tashlichenu milfonecha. What means al tashlichenu? When you want to shidduch and you're rejected and they say no. You want to go into yeshiva and they say no. You want to get a job and they say no. And you don't get interviews. And if you get interviewed, they say no. And it will call you if later talk. You don't get into seminary. You don't get into this chasidus and this skill and rejection after rejection is the worst pain in the world. And we cry to Hashem, Al tashlichenu milfanecha. Don't throw us away. Don't we shouldn't feel chas v'shalom. A boch in yeshiva doesn't have a chavrusa. The popular guy everybody runs after, and this guy doesn't have a chavrusa. No, it can't get a chavrusa. He's a good guy. It can't get a chavrusa. It's a klola. It's a klola. But the question is, do you take this klola and you go through this mitzrayim and you go through to come out a better person, a more understanding, a person that went through it? Now I know what it feels like. Now I can shine my heart inside. I don't have what it takes, but I can shine my heart and glow and shine into my friends around me, into the people. My best example was Matasio Solomon. There was a kid in Lakewood. I said this many times. He was a kid in Lakewood, I don't know, 10, 12 years old, and he became a Yosem. He was so close to his father. It was too much, too overbearing. He couldn't handle it. So everybody came and tried to talk. The talk. It didn't help. Ramatashil Salman, the Meshkich from Lakewood Zatzal, he comes into that. After that story, I call him Zatzal. He has many other reasons, but this story alone, he heard that there's a Yosim. He came running to that Yosim, and he sits down next to the Yosim, and he starts crying with the Yosim. And he says, I know exactly what you feel like, because exactly at your age, he became a Yosim. And it was so painful, the loneliness, and especially loneliness. What's so painful? Loneliness. Nobody understands me. Nobody understands what I'm going through. They're talking this and that. They don't chap a thing. You're strict with this Talmud, that Talmud. You lose everything. You lose everything. I want to end off with a story to illustrate that. But Atem is al tashlichenu milfanecha. What's the we have in the also I don't remember now the Lashon. It's also atom. But the point is alta shulchenu milfanecha. So why do you need emes over here? Because somebody that's a shakran can never do tshuva. The whole tshuva is a lie. There, there's such a thing of Kol Yisrael Arevin Zeh B'zeh. There's two versions, Loze, Bize, whatever. Both are correct, Lemaisa. Kol Yisrael Arevin Zeh B'zeh. What's Arevis? Arevis means I said this almost every year, but it was never, we never recorded anything. So, well, let me just put this in context. there's this student that goes into Yiddish goes to university, and they brought in a special person from a different country. There's some gaboim. They're so nasty, so unfriendly. I mean, and it's a good policeman, good policeman, bad policeman. It's good when the Rav or Rebbe is not there. Then you get a guy that's not loyal to anybody, just his boss, loyal dog, and nobody can break the rules. Mamish, nasty, and stringent. Nobody can budge over there. So you put that type of person over there. They can. Sometimes you have to bring a teacher that you can't bribe. You have to find this lonely, nasty person. He enjoys to to ruin everybody's life. So they brought such a guy in, and he said very strict. You can't fool around like university, and you guys drink and drugs and everything else. Not in my class. Here's 90 minutes for the regions or whatever to get a diploma right, and to get your bar, your degree, and you you don't bring in within 90 minutes, you lost. I don't care. A minute late is too late. Train, and you have this Yiddish that's popular and everybody, a good word for everybody. And he says, "Hey, you with the cap, the yarmulke. What do you think? You think you're gonna fool around? You're gonna smirk to this guy, that guy? I'm not cheating. I'm a half a room away. Yeah, but no smirking. No, 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 no. Sign language over here. I'm telling you, you don't know me. 90 minutes is 90 minutes. The boy didn't take him serious, and the test goes on, and people are giving it in. 5 minutes left, 1 minute left. Everybody gives it in. That boy is rushing up the last, and he blew it. He missed the yard. He missed the mark. So the guy says, "There's no point of finishing your exams because I'm not accepting it." And the boy takes another few seconds, and he's a minute late, but it's too late. Now who's laughing? Who laughs last? I'm laughing now. Just move on. So the boy says, "But you don't, you know who I am?" He says, "You? I saw thousands of students like you. You don't impress me a bit." He says, "But you know who my father is? You know my father, the rich my father." He said, "What do I care? You know what kind of government official is my grandfather? You know who my grandfather is?" He says, "I don't know. And frankly speaking, I don't want to know. I couldn't care less. I don't live in this state. There's nothing bearing over me. It has not. I'm leaving, and I'm not coming back. I don't care. I'm not accepting it." So the boy says, "You don't know me. You don't know my father. You don't know my grandfather." He takes his few sheets of paper and he picks up the exams of a few hundred. He stuffs it in and says, "Moshe Zichmech, go look for me. You don't know who I am. So you won't know, you don't know my name. You won't find me. Go find the test between hundreds of tests. He doesn't know which one is mine." And he leaves the room. Now, if you're in a corporate account, if you're in a group rate, that's you get much more benefits. The reason why Aleivim Zebazeh is so important, especially on the day of judgment of all humanity, is because today is the time that if they judge you one by one separately, nobody goes out clean. But if they judge you as a group rate, mishkasha, not bad. Maybe it could be a little better, but it's not bad. All in all, what this guy has, this guy doesn't have, and they complement each other. So let's go with Arevis. The Gemara says that if there's chas v'sholem, there's this transgression, and we're going on, we're segueing into tshuva right now. If there's transgression, so the Gemara says first tzaddikim die of the generation, they get hit first, and then ultimately the children, the pure children, that they're not big tzaddikim yet, but they're pure, they didn't sin yet, and they perish. The question is, why do they perish? The Gemara says that you don't see when somebody borrows. I go to somebody, I borrow money from him, right? And I'm the loiv, I have to pay back. I have to pay back to the lender. Now the lender says, "I don't know if you can pay back. Look, you fell in hard times because the mazel is gespielt. Something went wrong, right? I mean, you're an honest person, you're a responsible person, but look what happened. How do I know it's not going to happen again? How do I know I give you I'll give you money, you invest in a business, and it'll go sour again? So how are you going to pay me back? So I can't give you. It's not responsible to give you the money unless you have a oriv. What's a oriv? A guarantor. And he guarantees that if you don't pay, then he'll pay. Right. That's the difference between oriv, but oriv kablan is something else. What's a oriv kablan? So again, let's get this clear. Yeah, if you have a loive, right? You have the nation. Hashem struck with them a cord, a covenant that I take care of you, but you have to have my interest in mind. You have to work for me. You can't work for my competition, for avodah zarah, for idol worship. So this is the covenant. So again, if the people that transgress don't have what to pay, then you go to the guarantor. So the kasha is, why do you go to the tzaddikim and the pure children if first they should judge the people that did the transgressors, and then they should pay the transgressors the punishment. And if they don't have, but you could, right? Hashem could do away with many people that transgress. What do you have to? You see, you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to. The whole Judaism stands on that somebody in jail, right? Somebody in jail. That what happens if somebody's in jail? He didn't do it, right? He's sitting in jail, but the killer or the robber, if you if you didn't do if you didn't do the crime, you don't pay the time. So it's not yashris. If the tzaddik didn't do the crime, why should he pay with his life? So again, if you don't have who to pay, but you can pay the guy, you can punish the guy that did the transgression. So the tenant says, Oruf Kablin. What's Oruf Kablin? Oruf Kablin means that I take upon myself, not if he doesn't pay, then I pay. No, you can right away come to me and ask for the money. In other words, it's a partnership. Either you take the money from me or you take the money from the guy that's on the contract. Oruf Kablim by Chasanis, Oruf Kablim by Tenoim, that if that in other words, you can collect the money from the person that's the guarantor. You don't have to wait if the guy has what to pay or not. So in this case, Hashem says, Kol Yisrael Arevin Zeb, all the Jews are guarantors for one another. Right? If you're guarantor for one another, then every person has to pay. Now, who do you go to? Do you go to the regular people? No, you go to the people who had it in them to light up, to shine up, to glow, and people should learn from them to be the example. And sometimes Hashem goes to that, to the brightest and the shiniest, the brightest and the shine and the best, and he takes from them, he collects from them. That's why tzaddikim and pure children, a korban, and it's not as if now. So let's go a little deeper. So the Torah says, if a guy says, "Ki b'shris libi eilech leman svoi saroves atzmeya," Hashem says, "Lo yav Hashem selo yachloi." He says, "B'shridus." Shridus means it's not muscle. Well, I don't know. Shridus means, Rashi says, "Ashurenu," right? That means I see. He sees fit himself to do whatever he wants. So why is he doing that? He's not afraid. He's not afraid. The Teretz is he's not afraid because Kol Yisrael even Zebezeh. He heard the drasha from his rabbi, and his rabbi said all the Jews are guarantors for each other. Everybody takes responsibility for each other. So what I'm lacking, somebody else does has, and he complements that, and everybody fills in for each other. So he says he can I'll transgress, and later I'll come in, I'll join the group rate, and then I'll have a kapara. And Hashem says, Lo Yav Hashem. Why? Because the Yinala al Tifresh Min Atzibur, if everybody's doing tshuva at this time, if everybody's doing tshuva this time, you're excluding yourself and going out of the tzibur, out of the collective, and you're putting yourself out there. You're out of the group now. Now there's no group rate for you. There's no corporate account for you. Oh, then then oy vavoy. Why? Because you took yourself out of the klal. What's the klal? Everybody's doing tshuva, yom neram, and you don't want to do tshuva. You say, ech tevoshuv, I'll transgress late, I'll do tshuva. Hashem says, Ema speak tshuva. He'll never. I won't give him a chance. Why? It's going to be fake tshuva. He's going to stand. He won't feel it. He won't connect to it. It'll be sheker. It won't be a real tshuva. I'm not going to give him the opportunity. Why? Lo yoiv Hashem sloyach loy. Why? It's loy. He put himself out of the thing. He says, I see fit to do whatever I want. Who's going to tell me what to do? And later he's going to throw himself into corporate. No, you didn't. You took yourself out of the corporate. You took yourself out of the klal of darevus. How did you take it off? Because you went and you didn't do tshuva when everybody was doing tshuva. So this is very important to connect to the klal Yisrael and to the good people of the world, and then you have the power of darevus. Okay, so now, so we have. I want to just jump ahead. You have Vishafta ad Hashem Elokecha v'shemata b'koilei. What's Vishafta? You'll return to God, your God, and that's the parsha of Tshuva that we have in the Sid after Aleinu. This parsha Samon after that, parsha Tshuva, this parsha year before that, which is an Akev. What was Hashem asking you? Kim lira, right? Vata einata loshen Tshuva, right? Okay. Now, so you have Vishafta ad Hashem Elokecha v'shemata b'koilei. You'll return to Hashem and you listen to his voice. Which voice? This is a voice of an inner voice. The inner neshama calls out and has a consciousness. And it says, Hashem created you with a neshama. You have a compass. You know what's right. You really know what's right. There's a certain Avram Avinu, before he got the Torah, he knew what's right. Just don't tamper with your neshama and you'll know what's right. You know Hashem. This is a very simple question. What would Hashem want right now of me? Now, don't fake it out. And make l'shem shamayim, but shamayim. He means for the sake of heaven, but he doesn't know what the heaven wants. That's what you have to learn. You have to go to a rabbi. You have to go to a teacher, and they get from their teacher somebody that went through life experience, and he knows you, and they'll tell you what Hashem wants, and you mirror it with friends and chaverim and real chaverim. They'll tell you the truth. And then you get more or less a comprehension of the situation and this specific situation, and you proceed ahead. But again, the question is only one question: what does Hashem want? So v'shavta Hashem Elokecha v'shemata. You have to listen to the inner voice of a person. This inner voice is very, very. It's there's a dogish, there's an emphasis in Yom Neram, starting from Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur. What does Hashem want at this moment? So let's delve in a little bit. Somebody comes to his rabbi, and he tells his rabbi, "I want to do tshuva, but." So the rabbi said, "Take one thing. I don't know which one thing. I don't know. It's a klapnish, the klapnish." So the rabbi says, "Take thing. I know you. I mean, you're very emistic a person. Like you tell me in my face, I'm not coming. I'm not showing up. I'm not performing. I don't know. Emis is more important. Clarity is more important to you than being right. You're emis a guy. So why don't you take upon yourself never to say sheker?" He says, "I say the truth anyway." So that's easy. So take that easy thing. So be truthful. You're not religious, but be truthful, right? Okay. No, he's with the Sevra. He likes to be with the Sevra. Sevra gangsters, Shavapnikim, bums. So the next day they call him over, and he said, well, we're partying. Okay, he comes out and he comes. And where you going now? Now we're going to beat the system. We're going to steal. We're going to beat some. But they're going to catch you. No, they're not going to catch. What do you mean they're not going to catch? What happens if they? We'll deny. We'll say we never did it. Go prove it. There's no camera. He's thinking. But 1 second, I gave my word to Hashem on Rosh Hashanah just 2 days ago that I'm going to say only the truth. So if they're going to ask me if I did it, I'm going to say I did it. So I'll be locked up. Well, Moichel Toivis, Chebra, without me tonight, not joining in. Why not? I just took upon myself to say the truth, and I can't lie. And if I lie, So he goes away. The next day, the other Chevra call him every day, another story. And he says, but I'm going to be caught. The truth is not the truth, not the truth. Within a short while, he got closer and closer to Yiddishkeit. V'shavta d'Hashem Elokecha. If you say the emes, if you strive for the emes, if you search and yearn for the emes, you'll end up v'shavta d'Hashem Elokecha. So you start with the parsha Atem Nitzavim Mayom Kulchem with emes. Rosh Hashanah is about emes. Be true with yourself. Reflect mirror yourself. Where am I up to? Imalkana, where were you till today? If you're coming to say to coronate the Melech, the king, where were you? So let's move on. There's Toichacha, and then you need one Shabbos in between the Klolos, the Toichacha, and before a Shana. Why? Says the Gemara, Tifle Shana with a Chaf. It should end, cease to exist, the Klolos of last year, right? And the Tochil Shana with a Ches. It should start the Shana with its blessing in Berchaseh. The Tochil Shana Berchaseh and its blessing. Now, what lies in these words? What means Tichle? It should end. It should stop. What? So what? Take away the clothes. What do I need the clothes for? Right? You give me the clothes, and then what? And then what? And you say stop it. Don't do the clothes. Let Hashem. Elamai, why is Hashem doing that? So let's go to the Ashri Om Yodisru and let's work it out. We're going back and we're taking everything apart. There's Avram Avinu, he's a tkiya. Starts off, smooth ride, and then there's a tkiya at the end that ends off well. That's Yaakov. In the middle, there's Yitzchak with the Trua. What is Trua? Machlokes. Is it Shvarim? Is it Trua? So we do both, and then each one separate. The Torah says Yom Trua Elochem. What's Rosh Hashanah? Yom Trua. It's a broken heart. That's Trua. It's Yalola. It's the whole picture is it's how much tzibrochen, if it's 3 short ones, if it's 9 extremely short ones, how painful it is. Everybody has a different shvarim, and according to their background, according to their muscles, according to their experience, according to their nerve, everybody, what kind of trua it is, but it's a trua. Why is Yitzchak trua? Yitzchak is trua, like we said before. Yitzchak is the one that had it the worst. He has a kid, his son at home, Esav, the shoydish hara, the shoydish of evil, and all the new generations to come, and he's going to torture the children of Yaakov. It's torturous every second, not every day, every second. Yitzchak went through the most torturous. Yitzchak is shvarim and teruah combined. So when you have Ashrei Om Yod Yisroel, here's the question. What means tichle? Tichle means tachlis. Tichle means the tachlis of what. How do you stop the klolos if you learn the lesson from the klolos? Because Hashem will give you the same nisyonis again and again until you overcome it and you build your muscles. That's all. He doesn't want to punish anybody. He says you have to become a better person. That's what you came down here for. You have to be refined. You have to work yourself out, develop yourself, enhance yourself, not get presents all the time. Become the present. Not get the best shidduch, the best children, the best talmidim, the best colleagues, the best job, and the best. No, become the best friend, become the best shidduch, become the best father, the best son. It's about becoming when you yourself. Many times more significant and pleasurable when you become. Tichle, it's going to end when you get the tachlis of it. And what is the tachlis of suffering? The tachlis is that you should take that experience and not deny it, but bring it over and take that experience and help others and shine into others' lives. That's the pshat. Tishle shonu v'kiliseh. Then you have tochel shonu b'kiliseh. So, like Reb Shol Alta said, make it into a keli. In other words, use it out. Don't leave it. Take it with you as an instrument, and then you get the tachlis. And in taka, you don't need any clothes. And you got the lesson already. you ready to work. You went through Mitzrayim. Why did you go through Mitzrayim? Why did you go through the Klolos? So you can come out of Mitzrayim and understand of love the stranger, any stranger in the world. I'm not talking about those terrorists, but a straight light shine into everybody around you. So people, I said Shabbos. There's a word. It's international. It's persona. It's not a person. It's a persona. It's a character. When you see a godly, regal character walking down the street, it's refreshing, but it's also it's admired. It's revered. So let's jump in for 1 second. There's Hanistoris Lashem Elokeinu. If then in Historis Lashem Elokeinu, in the hidden, you're truly inside when nobody knows what's really going on inside. Elokim Yira Laleva. Only Hashem says. Shlomo Melech says, Adam Yira Le'naim. A person sees what his eyes sees, fleshy eyes. But Elokim Yira Laleva, he sees what's inside. And if it's Hanistoris and it's really Lashem Elokeinu, if it's for the sake of Hashem, then it's Lonu V'neinu Ad Olam. It's forever. There's two types of yira. There's a yira that's an outer yira and an inside yira. Outer yira is something that I'm afraid of punishment. He's going to beat me up, so I won't go there. I won't start up with him. He's a madman. He's a maniac. Don't have dinner dvarim with him. Just leave him alone. There's no way. No, there's bullies. You have to bully the bully. But many times, just walk away. Just change places, change work, change a mindset, change a killer, whatever it is. Leave. Just go, sometimes just walk away. If you have enough support to change the situation, but sometimes just leave it. So if there's outer punishment, outer influence, so you say if there's yira, chitzonis, then the father is afraid, right? I once had a chavrusa. He came from a Chassidish yeshiva. I'm not going to say a name. Over there, there's the Alter Ruv was in the Rosh Hashiva. He was from the Alter Haim before the war. And yes, Besmedish Bachram, 18, 19 years old, he would smack them. Of course, nobody would smack him back. They would smack him. He would die. He was an old man. But the point is, the Bachram they revert. They wouldn't. And he didn't know better, so he smacked Bachram. And that Bachram came from that yeshiva, came to our yeshiva in Stalin, in Borough Park. And I said, tomorrow's the Bechina. Let's prepare for the Bechina. He says, what? Mepachtu, mefraskadu? They don't hit it, right? I said, no, who hits in Bismedish? He says, I used to get smacked up. What? Alta Buchen? Yeah, he walks around smacking. And nobody said, no, old school, from Alta Haim. They didn't know better. So he says, so what do I have to be afraid of? Why didn't he have any motivation? Because anything he did is because of a patch. So no patch, so that's it, I'm free to go. If it's Yirach Hitzoinis, when the father's afraid of Oynish, of a patch, the kid says, no, today's generation, with all the, contemporary kiruv, no love and hugs and kisses. There's no, somebody gave me a clip of the Nafkamina Tzvish Ashkenaz, Atzebrochen, the Slichas, and it's Fardish Slichas where they sing out the Alchetz, the Shabbos, and it's a beautiful, Easter, Middle East melody, minor mentally war melody. The new generation will tell the father, "I'm sorry." They go to these places with the guitars and everything else, and everything is nice and dandy. I mean, nobody's afraid of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, even the fish in the water shiver. I don't know, shiver. What kind of Shivas Regal was the closest? What? So if you have Yirach Yitzaitis, it won't go over to the next generation. Next generation does no pitch. They're not afraid. They don't have that fear anymore. So, but if it's Lashem Elokeinu, it's an historis. It's an inner reverence of Yiras HaKovod, Yiras HaRoimemus. I love you too much to let you down. You did so much for me. You gave me everything I have. It's a kofi toiv, right? The Gemara says if somebody doesn't bend down by moedim, like a nachash, moedim all the way, then he'll be a nachash. What shall he'll be a nachash? He won't have taste in food if he's a coffee type. He won't have taste in food like a nachash, like a snake doesn't have taste in food. If you're coffee type, you lost everything. So if somebody doesn't want to be a coffee toiv, he wants to be makir toiv. You did so much for me. I'm in love with you because you haboiche bam Yisrael behava. He chooses the Jews behava. Therefore, we have to Hashem Elokecha. So when you have somebody that's yiras haroimus and the yiras hakavod and reverence to revere Hashem, right? To admire and to revere, that gives out lonu v'nei adolim. That goes to the next generation. So let's get back over here. V'shavta ad Hashem Elokecha v'shamata b'koiloi. Many times you have this inner message, the conviction, and the consciousness that says, you know what? I really feel bad. I wish I would be much better. I wish I could be like my friend. I wish I could be like my colleague. Somehow they get it. Somehow they feel it. Somehow they understand. Somehow they're kinder. They're more refined. They're more spiritual, warmer, and more loyal to Hashem. And I feel like I'm falling through the cracks. And you really wish that moment of charata or that moment of yearning, I wish I would be better. Baal Shem Tov says something that's worth more than everything. It's a brach in the hearts. That's worth more than everything else. And so let's just I have to cut it short, but Ashli Om Yoidei Srua. What is a trua? What is a broken heart? It's Yerida L'Toyrech Aliyah. We go down to get up. We go through Mitzrayim to get up and to come out much stronger and better and more refined and more with a lot more conviction and resolve. So so when you start off with the tekiah and then you fall down with a tzibroch nas teruah, which gets you as close as possible, and then you get up and you get up all the way with another tekiah gedola, and v'hoya bayom you talk about shofar gadol, and Mashiach will say, you know what the shofar gadol is? This tzibroch and yidela, that unassuming Jew that did little steps, no big things, right? Rishonim do need the big things. They need worldwide, fame and everything. The small things that's in the stories, Hashem, like, yeah, the people that did the small things, the little quarrels that they decided not to answer, to react, the little Yetzaharas, and they fought one step at a time, one step at a time, one thing at a time. Those people that struggle to make ends meet, always poor, always schleppers, never the esteemed, never the privileged, never the prestige, and they quite didn't make it, and they always yearned for more. And Mashiach will say, the Shofar Gadol, the great Shofar is going to scream out, that Yidel brought Mashiach, he brought the Geula of Hayoim Harasoilim, but also the Geula is also going to be Hayoim Koilis Shmo, which Koil, that inner Koil that you fought with, that you struggled, and that inner Koil will get Mashiach, and the Mashiach says, because of you, little Yidela, come up to the front. All of a sudden, all these small, unassuming people will be the inner circle, the prestigious inner circle. I just want to end with this mice. Actually, two mices, and I'm going to try to make it very quick. Bring out the point. Mice number one. They say it's a lembiga mice. I don't know, but this is a long time ago. In a Titan, there was a yid. He was a tailor, but he was extremely bachet. He was absolutely so charming, charismatic. All the nice terminologies. Everybody hung out there. Everybody. You needed something to fix, not to fix, to tailor a suit. They just hung out by him. And the mere fact that the Yiddilich didn't have the money to pay for it, so his shop was where the non-Jews were. So the mere fact that all the non-Jews hung out by him, it influenced him. And slowly but surely, his wife was no match to all the fancy ladies that came in. with their men, and they would mingle together. So slowly but surely, he had no appetite to come back home. What do I? They don't respect me. I'm all but a tailor. Garnish with garnish. And here, everybody just all the Shuvi the richies. Everybody comes in, and then we have tea, coffee, then l'chaim and whatnot. And so he stopped coming home. He came home once a week, but I'm going to schlep the whole hour or two. It's at night. I'm tired. He finished all the drinking late, and everybody left. And he comes home for Shabbos. Slowly, he drops all Yiddishkeit, the brachas, davening, learning, everything. His wife doesn't recognize. She, she starts to complain. So he came once a month. He starts to complain even more. So he didn't do any mitzvah. He dropped everything. And frankly, what is he coming home for? The problem is he didn't bring home panos anymore, and it was terrible. She didn't have what to eat. She didn't have what to feed the kids. He abandoned his wife and kids for the havloi lemazah, for this world, for here and now. This big purpose here is that this exceptionally talented, beautiful, smart, sharp mind, sharp tongue entertainer. He happens to be a tailor, but nobody comes in for tailing. They come in and yeah. So he says, "What do you mean? Bring him over." I'm looking at. So they bring him over with the chevra, and it was so entertaining. He says, "Look, how much do you make being a tailor?" He says, "I make enough to support myself. I'll make you a rich guy." Very rich poets, and he gave him a lot of money, and he gave him an estate in his complex of estate. He gave him a nice little house there, and he said, "Live by me, and every night you entertain, you make a lot of money." Kitsa, he dropped the whole Yiddishkeit, he dropped everything until one day he needed new material. So he used to make fun of the Jews. He could tell me jokes about the Yiddelech, and they would laugh and laugh, and he would get his money. A lot of attention. So he heard a big Hasidic Rebbe is coming into Lemberg, and he decided he's going to go to the Jewish quarter, to get material and come back and may have what to make fun of. They heard all his material. So he comes into the Hasidic thing, and he finds a couple. He couldn't go home to his wife; she wouldn't open the door for him. So he comes, puts on a couple, puts on a jacket, puts in some type of cap, and he comes into shul and. Thinking that he's so popular, he goes all the way to the front. He forgot that in the Jewish community he amounts to nothing. So he sits and the Rebbe had geschmeckt, and the Rebbe gave it to him, again, beremiza, not openly, but he gave it, he spoke, the rabbi knew everything about him without knowing anything about him, and he sensed everything, and he gave it into him through the whole Shabbos, Friday night, Shabbos day. So there was no material that he had on this rabbi other than he couldn't sleep, he couldn't eat, he couldn't function. He really hit to the core soul. And after Shabbos, he comes in, and the rabbi says, "I'm sorry, I don't take you in. I'm sorry, you're a lost case." He says, "Why?" "Because you're a sheker. Your whole tshuva is sheker. You came here to pluck fun on these precious souls in my community. You didn't come here. You didn't come here to learn anything." He said, "You're right. I acknowledge, but you hit me so hard. I didn't know what hit me, and I'm just I can't eat. I can't sleep. I'm distraught. I feel so empty, so low, so just like in 5 minutes I'm losing every. I don't want to live. He just wants to die. He feels so broken and so depressed. So when the Rebbe spoke to him, he said, "Look, I'll give you a derech tshuva, but you don't go home. You sit in shul. If they bring you food, you fast almost the whole week, eat a little bit each night, and so on. Come Shabbos, they invite you, yo nay, but you have to stay and cry. Don't go back to your job. Forget about that. Just sit here, and then we'll see." And he came back a week later, and the rabbi saw he's serious. He was still in the town, and he came back 2 weeks later, and the rabbi says, "Just continue." So for week after week, and then month after month, when the rabbi left her, and the Chassidish Rebbe left, and he did tshuva, and he wanted to know if Hashem, he did every aveda in the Torah, every aveda, even what doesn't say in the Torah. He did everything wrong, and he felt so bad. Lamaisa, after a long time of tshuva, he felt rejected because he doesn't know if Hashem accepted his tshuva or not. So one day he's crying, and it comes Shabbos, And every Friday night, the shamus would take him home because a pauper. He would take him home and then give him something to eat. Friday night, and the only meal he really had was Friday night, Shabbos day. And this Friday night, not only Hashem doesn't answer him if he accepts his tshuva, the Gabba, the Gabba didn't even, the shamus didn't even invite him. He felt so rejected and he was crying. And an old man walks into shul late at night. It was the early Friday nights, and this is already late. And the old man says, "Why are you crying, young man?" So this middle-aged yid tells him that the whole story, and he says, "Look, I came here to tell you that Hashem accepted your tshuva, and you'll see within a few minutes the shamus will walk in and he'll invite you. And you passed the test because Hashem wanted to see that if He doesn't even give you one meal Friday night and rejects you even more, if you makabel bahava, you makabel bahava, but all you wanted to know is not about your food, not about your taivas and lowly desires and lust. You wanted to know if He accepted your tshuva, if He accepted you back home, back to yourself, and you were accepted. And from here on, things will get better. But now you have to go to your wife afterwards. It's a So the shamus comes in, takes him in, and then after Shabbos, he listens to the old man. He tries to make amends with his wife. He's knocking at the door. She wouldn't have him. She doesn't want to let him in. He cried, "I did tshuva." Yeah, yeah, you're tshuva. You fake phony. You're a swindler. You're a liar. You're a lowlife. There's not one serious bone in your body. He says, "No, everything changed. If Hasidic Rebbe came, and she was aware of the Hasidic Rebbe, she wasn't aware that he was there. She didn't recognize him. He changed his whole outside, decor and his whole posture changed. He became a Balgaivinik, and she wouldn't even recognize him. There was no Weibishul to look down to, and so she didn't know he was there. And he said, "What do you mean? I was there the whole Shabbos, and I went back to the Rebbe, and he gave me derech tshuva, and I'm doing this for a very long time." And so she let him in, and she sees that he goes to sleep like a yid, and he cries by Krishna Lenin, and he begs Hashem for forgiveness, and he became refined, and he's very he's so humble. And then she sees he makes a bracha, and then and after the toilet and the way he davens, and it's like, what? He really changed. And then she follows him to shul Shabbos morning, and she watches from the window, and she sees this guy's really davening serious. Serious, he's not fooling anybody. And she starts changing. Maybe I should give him a chance, and so on. And after a while, this old man comes back and says, "Leave town for your tshuva and go to the end of the town. There's shackles. There's sheds there. It's like after the bathhouse, after everything, there's like you run down little shacks there. Go to the last one, the furthest one away from people, and you start over from there again with your wife and kids, and you'll be a tailor for the few, people, non-Jews over there, but only enough money to support yourself. The whole day you learn and daven, the whole day you learn and daven. From a person that wanted to take his life, and for a few years, he didn't take his life. And then he became a tzaddik. So years went by, and he was a sort of a tzaddik nister. And then the Rav of the Lemberg of Lvov has a dream that there's a yid at the end of the city. Before it's too late, go down there. I want you to see something because I need you to know that. What is it? He doesn't know. So he takes his helper, walks to the end of the city, and he checks all the houses are abandoned. For years, nobody's living there. He goes all the way to the end, the last one, and he sees from the window, it's shining such light. And it wasn't a physical light, it was like an aura, it was something different. And he looks into the window and he sees an old man learning with this guy. So he waited a long time, and then when it finished, he knocked at the door and he says, "Where's that old man? Which old man? What are you talking about?" The kid said, he says, "I'm the Rav of the city. I'm Geyser. You should tell me." And he made him say, and what did he tell him? He told him, it's Eliyahu Novi. He said, why should I believe you? He said, because you had the cholim, because he's about to die. In a few weeks, he's going to die. And there's nobody going to die from today. Those like a month. Nobody in the city will die. There'll be no Levites in the Jewish community. From thousands of thousands of Jews, won't be any Levaya, and he'll be the first one to die. After he dies, there'll be death. But so the Rav uh, goes back, and he doesn't know what to do, how to process this information. But he asked the Chavrika, no Levias. And it's going week after week for a whole month. And then the next Levi called me. And he called the next Levi, he was talking to this Yid. And he called the whole town together. And he said this was a Lamed Vovnik. Look what Tshuva does. Tshuva he was able to learn where he didn't learn before. He didn't know how to learn. So Elionova came to teach him Torah. What's the koyach hatshuva when you come together? So here's the thing that very quickly, why do you need a Shabbos before in between? What does Shabbos do? Shabbos Shalom. What's Shabbos Shalom? The Yom Tov gets the koyach. The Yom Tov gets the koyach from the Shabbos before. If the Shabbos before is kisovi close, you don't want Rosh Hashanah getting the koyach from that. You need a machitza. What does Shabbos do? Shabbos is v'shafto, the same words v'shafto to return. That's the words of Shabbos. What does that help? Let me explain. You have a machloikis. There's the famous story. I forgot it. I forgot who happened to. I said it other years. There was a man and woman. They both lost their spouses. She had a daughter, in age of shidduchim. He had one son, in age of shidduchim, and they got married, second marriage. The agreement was ich machasen my kid, you marry off your kid. We both have savings. We're not going to steal from each other. Well, we have a common budget just for the family for now, but not. He suspected that she takes for her daughter more than she needs for herself. She suspected that he takes from the combined budget for his son, and they went to the rabbi. What do you do? So the rabbi saw that they really love each other and they're really fine with each other, but this, money always gets in the way. And the rabbi said, "One second, how was his son?" She says, "Oh, he's amazing. My stepson is amazing." He asked the father, the husband, "How is your stepdaughter, her daughter?" "Oh, she's amazing." So why don't we make a shidduch? And they, of course, the boy and the girl were maskim. They knew each other, and they made a shidduch. Now the money that you suspect she's taking for the couple. That's shalom. The whole week, the body wants physical desires. The neshama, the soul wants kedusha, spiritual desires, everlasting pleasure, not net nitzchiistic pleasure. So Shabbos comes and makes shalom. Shabbos says you have to take the food and elevate it to nitzchiis, everlasting pleasure. So Shabbos makes shalom between the physical and the spiritual. So with that, that's the ultimate goal. Take make a keli out of all the hardships and take that and get it to the tachlis, so then you'll have tachlis shona u'birchaseh. It's too late. I wanted to say another story. We'll keep it for next week. But I want to wish everybody a lashona toiva mesuka, a good gebench zisayar, and taka Dave will helfen that if there's one thing, to be mamlech HaKadosh Baruch Hu is something just to say, Tata, I came home. Tata, later you have another week to cleanse. First thing is come home. Just come home. We'll take care of all the issues and all the issues that we have between each other. Come home and coronate your father. That's more than anything else in Rosh Hashanah. And when the shofar blows, think about the coronation of the Keren of Yitzchak Avinu. He was willing to give up his life. We don't have to give up our life. We have to live for Kedushas Hashem. Walk around in such a manner. Then when people see you, they'll say a godly representative of Hashem is walking around there. You're unassuming, humble, just easygoing, flexible, smiling, appreciating everything that Hashem does for us. Thank you. A good gebench to you.